Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This is a day in the life of a Filipina. And a friend of mine has a camera and taking a little video for me. She had to walk 3 kilometers, about 2 miles from Cebu City over to the border with Mandaue City because there are no taxis in Cebu City presently. She stopped by the Dole Department of Labor office to see they're closed, only taking information online, documents. 4 months after being laid off, still no money coming through the system. Many Filipinos work through agencies. The agencies pay them and send them off to work different places. Um, my understanding is that way they are not regular employees, saves the companies money because they don't have to pay certain amounts of benefits and those types of things. Sometimes the agencies pay those benefits, sometimes not, is my understanding. There's a push to regularize, to make more people full-time employees. Not sure how that's going. I think like McDonald's and Jollibee and other companies have been pushed to make those steps. Anyway, she took a taxi over to Mactan, over to Lapu Lapu on Mactan Island, and I think she was going to take her daughter to the to see a doctor. She has some kind of medical issue, and the good news was that they were able to get in to see a doctor, surgeon, I believe, to take a look at something that she had going on, and the good news was the doctor said wasn't wasn't anything to worry about. Something that some kind of little growth or something that some females tend to get, I guess. One nice thing about the Philippines is that you don't have to go to a general practitioner doctor to get referred on up the line to a specialist. You can go into the hospital, the clinic, and describe your situation, and they will give you the names of one or more doctors to go and see, and then it's first come first served usually, so that you go and wait. My experience has been that most hospitals, doctor's offices do not have air conditioning in the waiting area. In fact, sometimes the waiting area is outside like this. Mactan Doctors Hospital is associated with Cebu Doctors Hospital, and then they have these spaces to kind of keep people separated a bit. But you pretty much go and wait, sign in some places, and just wait for the doctor. A lot of the doctors work at a number of different hospitals, so they may not make their hours as listed. Cebu City, pretty much all the transportation, well, there pretty much isn't any public transportation at the present time. No jeepneys, buses for the most part, tricycles, hobble hobble, the motorbike taxis, pretty much are shut down until at least probably August 1st, and then we'll see what happens there. Mandaue City, the other cities around here, you will see tricycles over on Mactan Island. That's where this is. And what has happened because of social distancing, they're only allowed, I think, 2 passengers now, and they have plastic between the driver and the passengers. And what they've done is raise their rates. Instead of 7 or 8 pesos, 8 pesos being about 16 US cents, they've raised it, I think, not absolutely positive, I think to 20 pesos for most of the trips, which is 40 US cents. So a lot of Filipinos, they're not doing very well. They're been out of work. They're don't have very much money, so you will find more and more of them walking instead of even taking the tricycles these days. They're just pinching pennies, pinching pesos, so to speak. Mandaue City, Mactan, for the most part, Mactan Island, Lapu Lapu. Most of the cities, the towns, the provinces in Cebu province are on the more lenient GCQ or MGCQ, modified GCQ, and a few more businesses are open. think a few restaurants are open now with limited indoor eating, that type of thing. A friend of mine over on Panay Island, they had things were loosening up, and then they said they tightened things down. I think that Panay Island has 4 provinces, and he said that for a time you could cross into another province, but they shut that down, so you can no longer cross into another province on that same island, restricting movement. The office call there at the hospital to see the surgeon was 500 pesos, 10 US dollars. And I've been to a couple of dermatologists, I've been to a surgeon myself to have an infection cut out of my leg when I first came here, 2015. I've been to a number of other doctors for sinus infections, those types of things. I've paid anywhere, I think 350, 7 US dollars was the least that I've spent. 800 pesos was the most I had spent for a respiratory type specialist, where I had a pretty bad sinus infection, and 800 pesos there. But 500-600 is 4, 5, 600 pesos. Pretty common for an office call here, even with a specialist. Incidentally, this might interest some of you. Previously, I'd put out some information that the shingles, pneumonia, and flu shots were available at, I think, my doctor's clinic, something like that. They were at Robinson's Galleria Mall, and they are closed because of the present quarantine type situation. But I understand that you can get them to come and give you the inoculations, the vaccines at your home. I don't know what the cost is, but I do have the details, phone numbers, that type of thing. If anybody's interested in that, send me an email at noisemasters@gmail.com. I will put my email information in the description to this video, and perhaps a little bit of information on this as well. But for a fee, they will come and give you the vaccination as long as they're not out of them. My understanding is that they do have them available. And the reason my email is noisemasters@gmail.com is because I was in the noise control business for a number of years back in the USA. That's what I did, a controlled noise masters. Now, for most of these last 4 months, my understanding is that most of the hospitals and clinics have been closed down because they've been zeroing in on this virus situation. They've been laying off some medical staff. Some of the hospitals have been laying off staff that weren't involved in that. And I understand the same thing has happened in the U.S., probably different places in the world, as they focused on this. Therefore, a lot of vaccinations, a lot of cancer screenings, a lot of other quote-unquote elective surgeries have been put off for a number of months, and hospitals are slowly starting to open up here, is my understanding. But how about in your part of the world? Are the hospitals opening back up? Are you able to go in and get things taken care of? My friend who is taking this video, her cousin or uncle, I think cousin, died of a heart attack. Had a heart attack at home. Waited a day or two, I think, before he went to the hospital. Was afraid he might catch something at the hospital. I think that's kind of a common story. And finally went to the hospital, died at the hospital. And they brought the body home. They have a thing here where for about a week or so they have the wake or the viewing of the body for family and friends. And anyway, a couple days later, the police came and said, oh, he had tested positive for the virus. We have to take him away. And I'm not sure if they cremate them at that time or if they what they do at that point in time. She had another uncle, I believe, over on Bohol a couple months ago who died. there again, I tried to get more additional details, but haven't been able to get the additional details. And from what I've heard, sound like they just kept putting off. They didn't want to go to the hospital because of the virus situation. The good news here in the Philippines, especially here in the province of Cebu, the big island, is that over 90% of the cases are mild, and even asymptomatic. What they're doing, they're going out and trying to. Those people who were quarantining at home, they decided that's not good. They could quarantine at home if they had their own room, their own bathroom, their own CR. And a couple days ago, they decided that's not good enough. We're going to take them and we're going to isolate them in our facilities. And they're opening up more and more facilities. They don't want to pass it around, but by that time, week, 2, 3 weeks later, those cases have probably, if they've passed it to family members, that's already been the case. It's like you close the gate after the horses got out of the barn, the old saying goes. These two girls' plan was to go and get a second opinion, and this was a clinic where they were familiar with. They had gone there to get pre-employment testing, the medical testing you need to get for pre-employment, and they went here and they were going to try to get a second opinion, the growth that they want checked out. And it turned out that the waiting line was there again. It's first come, first serve, pretty much. And the waiting line was going to be several hours, and it was already later in the afternoon. So I think they decided that they would just leave it for another day, perhaps. When I first came here, 2015, I had a developed infection. Started the night before I flew out of Los Angeles. A little irritation on my leg. It got worse in the next week while I was here in Cebu, Philippines. The maid at the hotel I was staying at said, "Sir, you need to go see a doctor. Your leg is swelling up." So they directed me to a dermatologist down the road. But since then, a number of times I've asked, "Where's our clinic?" And everybody says, "Oh, sir, you have to go to a doctor. You have to go to a hospital." There are a few clinics around, but not too many. They seem to specialize in diagnostic clinics in pre-employment type things. Anyway, they got these big fans, got these little fans on the ceiling of these buses. That's something new. Anyway, this is the Philippines, and slowly coming back to life. Hopefully it will continue to open up through the end of through July here and into August and September. I haven't seen any really good news about international flights. I know that Thailand shut all international flights down a day or two ago. They had, I think, possibly some Egyptians came in and they went to a shopping mall or something, and one of them ended up being positive. So there's people in trouble over that, why they were allowed to go out. And so anyway, it looks like it's going to be a couple months at least before travel picks up again. In the meantime, people are just trying to make the most of it. By and large, everybody is remaining friendly, smiling. Everybody is, there's also a lot of fear. There was a poll that came out and said, I think among the Asian countries, the Filipinos are the most afraid that this will go on and on and on and on. And I think because of that, they have instilled fear in the people, most of the people, and because of that, the economy will open up slower. They're trying to start opening up domestic tourism. But I think you're going to find a lot of people just unwilling to spend money. Number one, they've been out of work. They don't have money. Those that do are afraid to be in an area where they might catch a virus. So I think fear is pretty much taken over and is going to create a longer much longer recovery period here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, go out and get some sun, some vitamin D. See you next time.